Well, first off, it feels great to be a Minnesota Viking. I'd like to thank Coach O'Connell and Kwesi for helping to bring me to Minneapolis. And I had a great first visit on Monday, meeting the coaching staff, and just really impressed with the culture that Coach O'Connell has built there. And, their vision for the program is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Alrighty. If you guys want to go ahead and put your names in the chat, we'll open it up to questions for Dean. We'll start with Matthew and then go to Alec.
Hey, Dean. This is probably the most obvious question, but coming from playing the Packers and the experience that you had against the Vikings, you gave obviously the Vikings a lot of problems over the last couple of years. I guess how does it feel for you? I mean, your familiarity with the division, you've got a lot of familiarity with the team, but also changing sides from one huge rival to the other.
I would say, honestly, re-energizing. I've had so much respect for the Vikings and the way they do things. And this past year, you could tell just the difference in the field with the team when Coach O'Connell got there. And I think that my experience in the division will help a bit, just playing 7 years in Green Bay and all those things. So I'm excited. There's already a strong foundation in place, and I'm looking forward to joining a great thing.
Yeah, hey Dean, welcome to Minnesota too. You mentioned the culture and like kind of seeing that and being aware of it from afar. What was it about what you saw from Kevin or Kwesi or the team that makes you say that, or that you did see that impressed you?
I would say the first very down-to-earth guys. When I met with Kwesi, he gave me some feedback on things I can improve on, and that's different from a front office standpoint to where I've been. And then Coach O'Connell just was very down-to-earth, and he had some great things to say about where the program is and expectations and standards of what it is to be a Viking, and just a really exciting time to be in Minneapolis.
Then I also want to ask, if possible, just how familiar are you with Brian Flores' scheme and system or ideology and what he might want to run here in Minnesota?
Yeah, good question. I've been a huge fan of his for a long time, just following his defenses, and it seems like everywhere he goes, he has great success, and definitely one of the bright minds in football. And if I had to describe his vision for defense, I would say it's versatile and tough. And I'm sure we'll, have a great OTAs with install and all that, but excited to play for Coach Flores.
All right, we'll go to Lindsay next.
Hi, Dean. Welcome to Minnesota. Alex stole my question, but no, I'll go ahead and ask something else. You mentioned like familiarity with the division and how that can be helpful and stuff like that. I'm just curious, like with the locker room specifically, if you've gained friendships at all with any guys in the Vikings locker room, just with how often you play them, and if so, just sort of how that can be helpful as you transition into a new locker room.
Yeah, it just seems like the guys in the Vikings locker room are a lot of high-quality guys. It just seems like the Vikings seek out players with really strong character. And I can't say it's one guy or one person I played against, but just having teammates and friends that have gone through the organization, that's one thing that's always said about it. And then just being in the building, the support staff, everyone from the nutrition to strength and conditioning, everything revolves around the player's performance. And that was really impressive to see that firsthand on Monday.
All right, Andrew, go ahead, and then Craig after Andrew.
Hey, Dean. Yeah, just what are your relationships like with some of the guys you're rejoining, whether it's Mike Smith or Mike Pettin or potentially Zadarius Smith?
I think it's really exciting. I spent a number of years with Coach Pettin and Mike Smith, and I think it helps just this transition because they know the certain defenses and schemes that I've been successful in and certain situations that I've excelled in. So looking forward to them communicating that with Coach Flores and Coach Rumpf, and it's definitely a win for everybody.
Hey, Dean, I was just curious if you had evaluated the NFLPA report cards as you were looking for potential free agency landing spots, or if you felt like you had all the information you needed from facing the Vikings so many times.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that the players look at is the NFLPA survey, and the Vikings were first overall, as you guys know, and that's really impressive just for just life outside of football, just how they treat the players and everything for the families that's in place to be a part of the experience, and that definitely was true as in visiting Monday, just with everything's in place for the players to be successful, and it speaks to the investment that the ownership and front office has put in place for the players just to overall give a great experience for them and their families.
All right, Matthew, go ahead.
Hey, Dean, just wondering about from a production standpoint, which obviously is not everything for your position, but 2021 was higher than last season. Is there something that you can point to kind of, go back to 2021 that was working better for you than it was last year, or do kind of numbers lie in this situation?
Yeah, for sure. I think production stats definitely helped to tell a story. And I had more sacks and pressures in 2021 than I did last year. And I think it partly is opportunity. I had more third down reps that year. And this past year, we had a more crowded defensive line room. And a lot of those reps are going to different guys in the room. But also, yeah, I think just looking internally, there's things I can improve on. And that's one thing that Kwesi brought up with me is that for most of my career, I've been more of a power rusher. And it's time to really have a counter move to that and really improve just my pass rush toolbox to be more productive.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Dean, welcome to Minnesota. I'm just kind of curious, what have your early conversations with the coaching staff been like in terms of what they expect your role to be on defense, and just what's it like in general just to join a team coming off winning a division title? I mean, that's got to be, you mentioned being re-energized. That's got to be a pretty big motivator.
Yeah, for sure. For most of my career, I've played in a 3-4 defense, so I think it's a smooth transition. I plan to be, more of a 4 and 5 tech on base downs, and then in sub packages move inside and play 3 technique. So I think it fits really well to what I've done in the past. And yeah, like you said, I mean, the Vikings have a really good thing going. So there's so many positives with this team on both sides of the football. So I'm just looking to play a role in it and to excel in my role.
Any more questions for Dean?
If I could just follow up real quick on something you said, Dean, you were talking about this conversation with Kwesi. I think that's kind of interesting that general manager giving you feedback, but you're a proven player in the league. I'm not sure everybody would want that. So I guess why did that resonate with you that he was kind of giving you some feedback on your game?
Well, I would say the first thing, it's new to have a GM to give positive feedback and things to work on, and I think also I'm coachable. I want to improve my game and to have someone who's obviously a very bright football mind give you feedback and tell you from an outside perspective of things you can work on. That's really good for me to hear and to improve my game. And I think that's one thing I've learned going on 8 years now is that, you can always be coached. And even the great players, the Hall of Fame players, when they're 10 years in, they're asking to be coached. And I think that's a great example for our whole team.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks Gene for joining.
Okay.
Thanks,
Where's
Dean.
Marcus at? Is Marcus here too, or?
Yep, I'm about to let him in just a minute.
Gotcha.
If you want to stay and listen, you're welcome to.
It's all good. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.